Hello and welcome to the Drone Zone. I'm drone pilot Brian Kay.
And I'm drone pilot Joe Tillman.
Hey Joe, what's the first thing you want to do when you buy a drone?
You want to fly it.
Of course you want to fly it. A lot of people, they do it, but they fly it in their home. They fly it in their backyard.
Right.
That's not exactly the place you want to practice flying a drone for the first time, is it?
No, you want to come to a place like here where we're at today.
Yeah, today we're at Mountain View Park in North Phoenix, and you want to come to a park like this. First of all, it's a drone-friendly park, and those are easy to find. You can go to your city's Park and Recs website, and they'll have a list of the different parks they have, and they'll tell you which ones you can fly your drone at and which ones they probably don't want you to fly your drone at. But you want to come out here. Why do we want to come out to a drone park like this?
Because we have wide open spaces and very few hazards that we have to deal with.
Yeah, you can practice all you want and you can go as far as you want without really hitting anything. There's no trees, no tall trees, nothing in our way. So this is the perfect place you want to start flying the drone. So how about we get the drone out and we fly it a little bit?
Go take a look.
All right. As I'm getting the drone out ready to fly it here at the park, it's always good when you first get a drone to read the owner's manual. You're also going to want to register your drone with the FAA, and you're also going to want to update all the firmware that's on your drone so the controller and the drone can talk to each other fluidly. Some general guidelines to go by when you're first starting to fly your drone. Don't fly near any airports or in controlled airspace. If you have a Part 107 license and you're going to be flying in controlled airspace, you're going to want to get a FAA LANCE approval to fly in that area. Also, if you're going to be flying in any parks, you're going to want to check your local regulations and make sure it is a drone-friendly park, because if it's not, you'll probably be asked to land your drone and not fly there. Don't think about flying at national parks because it is a no drone zone area. Also, national forests, you may be able to drone there, but you're going to want to check the airspace and a permit might be required. Before you fly, you're also going to want to have a pre-flight checklist going over your drone, and you're also going to want a flight briefing with your crew to make sure they are all aware of the hazards in the area and what your mission is all about. All right, let's get this party started. So now that we have the drone in the air, we're going to talk about the controller. You have two joysticks on the controller, left and right. The left controller making it go this way and that way, and also making it go down and up. The right controller controls the drone flying it forwards and backwards. Also, it will make the drone fly side to side. So when you're first learning how to fly, the right joystick is probably the one you want to get most familiar with and do what's called box rotations, where you're going to go forwards, backwards, and side to side. Practice that, and then you can move on to other maneuvers. All right, now I'm going to bring the drone in for a landing. When you're landing your drone, you want to make sure it's slow and smooth and not a lot of erratic behavior. Also, a landing pad helps. Joe, take it from here.
So when you first launch your drone, you want to make sure your drone is going to be responsive to your controller. The easiest way to do that is what we call a shake. And all it is you're making your drone go left to right to left, and make sure that it's responding to your controls. If it's not responding to your controls, come in for a landing and fix the problem. You don't want to know you have a problem where you've already launched the drone and you can't get it back. When you're flying your drone, you always want to have a visual line of sight of your drone at all times. Also, it's helpful if you have a VO or a visual observer with you with a second pair of eyes on that drone and can really help you out in a pinch. Another feature on most drones is called return to home. Return to home is a feature you use if your drone is getting in trouble. If you lose contact with your drone, it will go right where you left off your last GPS marking. Return to home. Here it goes.
Return to home.
Return to home is a safe way to bring your drone home if you encounter any issues during the flight. The drone will return to its spot where it took off from, all by itself.
Another tip when you're learning how to fly your drone, make sure you're not messing with any other people. You're flying in spots that's not going to annoy anybody or disrupt what they're doing. Say a family is having a fun day at the park. You don't want to buzz them. You don't want to get close to them. You want to stay your distance and practice your drone flying.
Another thing we experience while we're in the field is onlookers and people curious to what we're doing.
Yeah, a lot of people will come up to us and ask, hey, what are you doing? Why are you droning here? How do we handle that?
The best way to handle curious onlookers is to acknowledge their presence, but you're still flying the drone.
If someone approaches you and starts asking questions and does want to chat a bunch while you're droning, just tell them briefly that you're getting some aerial footage, or like we would say, we're with Fox 10 News and we're getting aerial footage for a story we're working on.
And let them know you are currently in a drone flight, and when you land the drone, you'll be happy to tell them all that's going on.
And a lot of people might say, are you supposed to be droning here? Well, just reassure people by mentioning you either have a Part 107 license or that you have approval to fly in this area.
When flying a drone, safety first. Safety, safety, safety.
Always.
When it always comes to flying a drone. Know your surroundings, know your hazards.
And if people do come up to you, handle it in a calm way. And if you do have a visual observer with you or somebody else in your crew, designate them to handle onlookers. So Joe, a lot of times we talk about the different height we're able to fly to.
Right.
Today we're at Mountain View Park 2 and we're in G airspace.
So what does that mean?
That means we are in uncontrolled airspace. We can fly up to 400 feet. So why don't we show everybody what that looks like?
Let's take a look.
Take off.
Okay, now that we have the drone in the air, let's go to 100 feet and see what we look like from the ground. Okay, that is 100 feet in the air. Now, let's go to 200 feet. That is 200 feet. Let's go up once again to 300 feet. 300 feet. Now, let's go to our max height at 400 feet.
Max altitude reached.
All right, Joe, we've reached our max height And as
can't
you
go
can
any
see,
further.
we can't go any further, but as you can see, you can hardly see us down on the ground.
We're like a little ants. Look at little ants, little BK, little Joe, right there. So those are some tips and tricks you get when you first get your drone. BK, take us home.
I'm drone pilot Brian Kay.
I'm drone pilot Joe Tillman.
Keep your drone soaring and your adventures exploring.